Hey everybody, this is Rydo and we're back to 999, the first of the Nonary Games. So, the more I think about Lotus before we jump back into the game, is I'm wondering if this game is trying to do a very opposite thing to what you would normally see in manga or anime in Japan. Because typically a character is drawn a specific way to give subconscious subtle hints about the personality and the type of character they are. For instance, Seven on the left there is drawn to look like a big tough fighter character who wouldn't be particularly that smart. But then when you deal with Lotus, she's shown herself to be rather intelligent, but kind of lazy. And the intelligence part there kind of flies in the face of the ridiculous belly dancer outfit. But it does kind of make sense as far as the lazy outfit. It could be that she is actually rather smart and just doesn't want to work a job that doesn't pay that well compared to cheap and easy money of just being a belly dancer. So there might be some laziness in that. But on first glance, before we actually started talking with Lotus, it definitely made her look like she was probably the floozy of the group. And if anything, I don't feel like she has been that at all. She hasn't really done any of the lewd jokes or jokes of sexual nature at all. Santa has done a lot more of those jokes, and June certainly has been the one fantasizing more than anything else. And so I don't know if maybe there's supposed to be some revelation here that happens to not judge a book by its cover, which also would be kind of fairly Japanese. Not Japanese really, like, because the Japanese are all about wanting to hide in the crowds and not be outstanding or different. So they totally would judge somebody that stood out and dressed differently or acted differently. We're in the story itself. We need to find some kind of connection, some device that would connect to the doors, and the whole group is back together. It does kind of also fly in the face of the idea that we weren't supposed to make assumptions when the first person that we saw, number 9, when we first saw him, he looked a little crazy, and he acted very crazy right up until he blew himself up. So we would have to get some kind of backstory on that character to reveal that he knew something more, and he was actually more sane than he acted. So yeah, we just kind of ended in the middle of this. We're looking for the connectors, and we're going to keep an ear out to see if the audio thread of the computer program, thread as in most computer cores have 2 threads, the audio process that plays music is crashing and relaunching, because we do have points where it just kind of doesn't enunciate the text, and I'm not sure if that means that in some remaster they had the voice actors do some lines of text and not others, or if maybe this should be a 100% talkie with every line of dialogue being vocalized, and it just kind of crashes every now and then and doesn't do it.
We've looked everywhere in this room. That only leaves one place to look.
So 7 is proposing that we look around to find the connection devices to get through one of the numbered doors. And we're going to have to make a big decision at some point that will actually split the path again.
1?
Well, not just one.
That was translated very differently from what was said.
Wait.
So there's this hallway with a lot of doors.
Don't tell me you mean we need to search all of the other rooms.
And we have 6 hours remaining, and this hallway is just full of a lot of rooms, and nobody wants to search them all. Frankly, I don't think you're going to have a choice if you were in a jigsaw murder puzzle like this. I would say you probably should just run and try and search everything. Most of the Saw torture traps do have some secret hint or clue or item somewhere hidden that manages to not be found, or at least there's an implication that there's hints and things that aren't found. And as long as we're still relatively safe, we seem like we're fine. Like, we're not seeing a jigsaw booby trap penchance. Is that the right word? No, that's too big a word for me. We've yet to open a door and have like a giant axe fall down and try and kill somebody, or have it activate a bomb, or anything like that. It seems like the numbered doors are clearly labeled and the rules have been clearly explained, so it seems like you're safe to just enter any place and look anywhere. I guess with the exception of the freezer. So if getting trapped in the freezer was something Zero controlled and did, then there are booby traps, but we don't know.
Don't freak out. We've already searched 4 of them.
4 rooms?
We just have to split up the rest between the 8 of us.
So is this trying to say that there were 12 rooms in total?
If each of us can do 6 rooms apiece, we'll have the other 48 rooms cleared in no time.
Yeah, again, this is not being translated directly.
There are 48 other rooms?
This whole consistent mentioning of numbers seems like I should be writing this stuff down. But then the irony will be we'll get to the end of the game and the numbers won't matter at all, and they would have just been red herrings.
Maybe?
See, it seems like 7, he says he's lost his memory, but he seems to kind of know what ship this is, that it's a sister ship to the Titanic called the Gigantic, which would make it 100 years old, and he seems to know that it has 48 rooms. So maybe he's letting some information slip.
Yeah.
When they put June and 7 next to each other, it makes it look like they're pairing up, which I'm fine with that.
Yes. We'll all meet up when the clock goes off again.
So they're gonna devote an entire hour to it.
How about in that room with all the beds?
So what happens if somebody finds what they're looking for and it takes them 5 minutes? Then do they have to just yell for everybody to come back as quick as possible, I guess?
Yeah. Sounds straightforward enough.
I'll shout if I find any of the components we need.
Yep.
I hope we can find them within the time limit.
Snake is going to be fairly useless in this setup.
If we can't, then we'll just have to come up with another
considering he's blind.
Right. Then let's do this.
Fade to black. I don't know if the story's just gonna skip at that point.
I better get back to the others.
Yeah, just a straight hour skip, as if they wanted to hide something from Junpei from seeing it, or if they wanted to put in like a 1 hour extra bit of story via DLC, which, this being a dual screen game, Nintendo DS game, he wouldn't have been able to sell DLC, so there's no reason for that. I guess I'm a little happy that they skipped an hour, though, because that does then make it seem like we are closer towards the end of the game than we really are. Everybody's already back, or
what are they doing over there?
Did they find something out about me and they're thinking I'm the bad guy?
What happened, guys?
Jumpy, look!
Vacant.
It now says vacant, almost as if maybe these doors only open after a certain amount of time, and you do have to wait The only reason why Zero would make people wait is if they're trying to get some bit of information out of the characters, which might be what he's doing.
Come on, guys. Who was it? I thought we were supposed to yell if we found it.
Well,
What the hell? What is up with you guys?
Well, that's the thing. We don't know.
You don't know?
Did they get gassed again?
When I got back, it was already like this.
And it doesn't look like there really is a device connected to the scanners, so if there are connections down there, they might just be like power plugs that temporarily transfer power into them.
There was no one else here. That means I was the first one back, but
So now it ranks up the paranoia, because the assumption is that somebody or some team of people snuck back and fixed these and doesn't want the credit for that. And I don't know why you would particularly hide that. Like, inherently, if there is a mole within this group, moles tend to act more suspicious than they really need to. And if I'm looking at the number 8 in the background, does that really look like a number 8? Or was it a number 6 that has been repainted? I mean, why would that matter? Either 8 is gonna work, or it won't.
the missing parts were already back in the red.
What? Let me see. You're right. It's in there.
I don't know what part was missing. I guess I didn't see it. I thought it was something that was going to be connected at the bottom, but the bottom looks the same as the last time I looked at it.
What about the other two?
They're the same.
Let me take a look. It's just as you said. Alright, I just want to be sure here. Nobody has any idea what the hell happened here, right?
Correct.
So then the next question, was everybody in direct visual contact at all times with their partner?
none.
Or did everybody split up into individual groups? It would have been a little bit helpful if they had said that. Clover seems to want to say something.
Huh. Wait a minute. Where's Snake? Does that mean that he found them?
I have no idea. There's nothing to suggest it, but nothing to suggest he didn't either.
Yep.
I don't suppose we'll know until we can ask him in person.
Well, whatever he did or didn't do, he's pretty damn late. What the hell is he up to?
I feel like we're gonna find him dead.
Maybe he's lost.
Or it could have also been that somebody had these components in their pockets at the beginning of the game and they've just been holding on to it and not telling anybody.
Yeah, well, that seems likely. Dude can't see. I don't know how he gets around in the first place.
No! That's impossible! Yeah, my brother's blind, but he's got really great hearing. He can get around as well as anyone who can see.
Okay.
So he couldn't get lost. That's impossible.
Clover's really freaking out. Being separated from him, the question is, how'd she get separated from him?
I'm gonna go look for him.
Okay.
Hey, hold on, Clover. Wait!
Maybe somebody should go with her so she doesn't get lost.
Well, that didn't work. Damn it. What should we do now?
Well, the red is working now.
No! We're not leaving two people behind. We should go look for them.
Oh man, this ain't good.
Now, we'd have to try and think the numbers. Clover and Snake would be 6. There is no door number 6. So if we were to leave them, Ace has to stay behind or they're just dead. They're trapped forever. Because then 6 plus 7 would open door 7, and then we would have to figure out if we can get a digital root of 8 or 3 with the rest of the group, which would be 3, 8, 7, 4, 3, 8, 7, 4, and 5, 9, plus 7 would be 16, plus 8 would be 24, plus 3 would be 27, which would add up to 9. So, yeah, the remaining group wouldn't be able to work that way. There might be a combination where both people work. And I feel like the game might just tell us the combination so we don't even really have to do the math.
Oh, yes, what an excellent idea. We just wasted a bunch of time looking for some piece of electronic junk. Now let's waste some more by looking for a couple of idiots.
Remain here if you feel you must, but there's no time.
I don't mind leaving one person to go look for them and still give them a chance to make it forward, but it is actively murdering them, in my opinion, if you just leave Clover and Snake together, because you know that violates the rules and there's no way that they escape then.
We've only 5 hours left.
Let's split up.
So you don't get a decision.
All right, I'll take this direction.
Then I shall look that way. I'll be over here.
See you all later.
All right, we should go too.
Oh man, I'm getting stuck with June again.
Yes, let's go. But where should we start?
I kind of wonder if there is going to be some replayability here and like a time rewind function. If maybe we could eliminate June from the cycle. Like, it wouldn't be a terrible idea in the game if you started off with 9 characters, you allow in the first playthrough 1 or more people to escape, and then they just don't appear on the ship at all in the second timeline.
Let's see.
Okay. So, at this point you can't bring up the menu, so you can't look at the you can't look at the map. We could go to first class cabin on B deck, the hallway with all the rooms that we were just at on C deck, the back of the large hospital room on C deck we've been. The one place we haven't been is the casino, so we might as well go and see something new. That's basically it. And if this is the decision that splits things off, it's not really a fair decision because it is just a random guess.
How about the casino on B deck?
Okay, let's go, Jumpy.
Yeah, I imagine a blind person in a big open area like a casino would do a little worse than a hallway area where he could easily like hear the echoes off the walls or reach out and feel the walls. Like, if he can keep his hand on the side of a wall, he could probably walk forward and work his way through like a maze-like layout a lot easier than a big open room.
Isn't it obvious? I'm looking for Snake.
I'm just not seeing it.
Really? Maybe you need to look harder.
I don't think that's the problem.
This is slightly too aggressive. It feels like there should have been something in parentheses to describe what you saw her doing. She seems to be just standing in one place doing nothing. Or something like that. We've actually seen basically no narration in this visual novel game, which is what it mostly is. There's really been no narration as far as what the main character is seeing or thinking, and we could use a little bit more of that. Kind of feels like the writer isn't as experienced as he should be as far as storytelling.
Oh, by the way, I've got a proposal for you two. Care to hear it?
So she's double backed to make a proposal. She's gonna propose that we end up as the last three, so that would be 8, and then 4 and 5, which would be 8. So we would need Ace 2, Ace also, or 2 other people to get a digital root of 9. Let's see, video game wise, I guess we should listen to what she has to say, because she might say something completely different, and at the very least this would be more insight to her character. So if we know that she is just a backstabbing, duplicitous snake in a second playthrough, you could pretty much say, well, we have no reason to deal with her because we know she's gonna try and stab us in the back at the end.
What is it?
Well, I don't like to beat around the bush, so I'll get right to it. Why don't we team up?
Now we're into the survivor aspect.
Team up?
Secret teams.
Yeah. What? You need me to explain it to you? I'm saying, why don't we go through a numbered door?
Even if we wanted to, that's impossible.
Why?
Jumpy's bracelet number is 5, mine is 6, and yours is 8. Our digital root would be 1. But there's no number 1 door in the large hospital room. The only doors there are 3, 7, and 8.
Then we add another person.
Huh?
Who?
What? Isn't that easy? 7.
Oh, if we add 7, 5 plus 6 plus 8 plus 7 equals 26. The digital root of 26, 2 plus 6 equals 8.
So the reason why Lotus would pick 7 out of the other group is because she probably thinks 7 is pretty dumb and manipulable. She probably thinks June and Junpei are pretty dumb and manipulable too.
Wait a minute.
The question is, how do you get 9 eliminating one of those people?
What about the other 4? Ace, Snake, Santa, and Clover.
Well, why don't you add them up?
1 plus 2 plus 3 plus 4 equals 10. And 1 plus 0 equals 1. The digital root for those 4 would be 1.
That's right.
And you know the number 1 door isn't in the big hospital room, right?
Of course I know that.
No! Are you saying you'd leave them behind?
Of course not. What kind of woman do you think I am? Once we get off the ship, we could come back and rescue them, couldn't we? Then we wouldn't really be leaving them behind.
Don't try to lie to us. I don't think you do anything of the sort.
Really? Why do you think that?
You remember, don't you? We have less than 5 hours left. Even if we manage to escape, there's no way we could come back to rescue them in less than 5 hours.
She makes a decent argument.
Well, you never know until you try.
No, you're not thinking this through. Even if we brought 7 with us, we wouldn't be able to get off the ship. The 4 of us couldn't open door 9. It is hidden, but an exit can be found.
Yep, the numbers are going to get
Seek
more
a way out.
complicated.
Seek a door that carries a 9.
I don't know if there is a solution here.
Yeah, that's right. The digital root for the 4 of us would be 8, so we'd have to add Ace to make 9.
That's right. Unless we bring Ace too, we'll be stuck.
Oh. Well, that's unfortunate.
Unfortunate. That's all you have to say?
Well, let's try and find another way, okay?
See, remember there's one door with no number on it, so it might be a case that that door with no number painted on it unlocks or from the other side, or unlocks automatically for the other team, so they can catch up anyways. I mean, it's just a guess, but that would help this game not eliminate half of the people. Although eliminating half of the people halfway through the game might be fine.
Way to get out of here with all 8 of us.
That's impossible. Are you being serious? And you do know that only 5 people, at most, can go through one of the numbered doors, right? The number 9 isn't going to be an exception to that rule. Regardless, at least 3 people will get left behind.
Huh.
Yeah, I guess that makes sense.
And the argument is that these are the 3 people that should be left behind because they seem to be the most duplicitous.
You're skipping over a really big detail. Is that really okay? That means 3 people will die in the end. Are you okay with that?
It feels almost like Junpei and his personality is talking to the player character.
That's just...
Which is weird.
You think I could have a moment alone? There's some things I need to think about.
That didn't turn out to be a very pleasant conversation.
So, Lotus in particular is not in the best position. I think the higher your number is, the less possibilities of combinations you have to get to 9. Like, she needs 3 people that would have a digital root of 9 and at a minimum.
Yeah. Well, regardless, let's just focus on finding Snake for now, okay?
Yes, you're right. We can think about those other things later.
Yeah. Alright, where should we go next?
It might have been better establishment as far as the story if Zero just explained that the rules or this implication at the beginning of the game that at most 5 people are going to escape and at most 3 people are going to be left behind. But I suspect there actually is a perfect solution somehow in this game where everybody survives. Alright, looks like we're going to go everywhere, so let's just go everywhere.
Look at the first class cabin. It's really close.
And I wonder if maybe that means Snake will be in the last place we look. What should Junpei do in weird brackets? Talk to her or leave her alone. We have talked to Clover very little, and I'm not sure we've directly talked to her at all, so let's talk to her.
Are you alright? Look, I know you're really worried, but...
And one would assume that at some point somebody would think women and children first. As far as this. Like, the only real backstory we've had with Clover and Snake is perhaps a indication or a slight subtlety that they are oddly codependent. Seems like we're getting more confirmation of that.
I said leave me alone! You're so annoying! Just go away and leave me alone! Just looking at you guys is pissing me off!
That's an odd response, but okay.
Go away, okay? Just go somewhere else! Stop bothering me!
Okay.
Why are you still here? Did you hear me? Huh? Fine, forget it. If you aren't gonna leave, then I'll just...
Alright, let's go, June.
Yeah.
Yeah. Unless we go down the thought that she is annoyed between the implication of a romance between Junpei and June, this response just seems a little crazy, and it really just makes Clover again highlight herself as being a potential danger of a character being young and now being irrational. If we're not going to get any actual story here, though, or characterization, I don't know what to really take from this. I mean, sure, she's upset.
We really need to find Snake, for Clover's sake. So, where do you think we should go next?
So, apparently, you can go back to places you were already, so there might be a decision here to go back to the casino and talk to Lotus again. and that might actually be something that affects something. But I'm just gonna go to every place once. Yeah.
Why don't we go back to C deck?
It feels like the game should have had these kinds of move around options more.
Take a look at that hallway with all the rooms.
Clearly, though, this is not integrating the move around options that you have when you're trying to escape a room.
Okay,
because
let's get going.
that has the little arrows left and right, and you can select things with a cursor and use it with a controller, the right bump and the left bump, to swing around.
Hey, Snake! Where are you?
Yeah, it feels like everybody should just be screaming Snake.
Answer me if you're there.
Let's see. Let's go run the ace.
Let's go.
Ah, hello there. Snake is... Well, that's obvious, isn't it? I assume you haven't found him yet?
Yeah, doesn't seem like you're having any luck either.
I really wonder where he could have gone.
Well, wherever he's disappeared to, we must find him as quickly as we can. For Clover's sake.
We haven't had direct conversations with Ace too much either. It'd be funny if he's just on the toilet somewhere.
Right.
Okay, here you have June blushing again. And that's either just a weird animation pick to use, and they just don't have enough animations to use, and they're just trying to use the things they already made, or I guess you come back to maybe some thought that there's something being lost in translation here, and there is some kind of weird like romance idea being mentioned here between Clover and Snake, who were described as brother and sister, even though they look pretty different and look like they're completely different ages. So yeah, I still have that thought in the back of my head, but if it doesn't get translated, or if it's just a thought, I mean there's no confirmation of it ever, then I guess I just end up sounding like the weirdo. Although it does happen a lot in Japanese, well, adult material at least, for step siblings or real siblings to have romantic interest in each other.
By the way,
happens in the West, adult material a lot too. So, alright, now we're getting some evidence. I thought this might be it.
Why would you say that?
The other thought is that they might not be siblings, and Clover might be like a prostitute that Snake hired. Which could be the case too. It's another thought that until we get evidence, I just sound like a creep suggesting it.
Why? Well, it's obvious, isn't it? They don't look alike at all.
Yes, now that you mention it, they don't. Still, there are a great many siblings who do not look like one another.
It could be step siblings.
It certainly isn't rare. At any rate, we really must find Snake as soon as possible. The clock is ticking. We really can't afford to waste any time.
I'd say Ace feels like he's maybe a little too deductive, and he kind of enjoys mysteries for the mystery's sake more than solving mysteries for a final goal. That might be his issue. So compared in contrast to Lotus, if a puzzle was put between Lotus and Ace, Lotus would be lazy and want to think about it but not ever actually try and solve the puzzle, and Ace would try and solve the puzzle and then potentially mess up like a jigsaw puzzle and do it again.
Very well. Let's get back to the search, shall we?
Yeah, I imagine Lotus, if you gave her a jigsaw puzzle, would want to think about all the solutions and have the full solution before she would even begin to pretend to move.
You can leave this area to me.
All right.
Now it's possible that Clover or Ace or Lotus or anybody really, since they don't seem like they were on a buddy system, it's possible any of them killed Snake, and now they're hiding his body as we speak.
Let's go, Jumpy.
Something about that was... Nah, I'll think on it later.
I don't know what Ace would have done in that conversation that would have revealed anything.
Like Ace said, finding Snake is our top priority. Alright, where should we go next?
So let's go back to the large hospital room.
Why don't we go back to the big hospital room?
And that'll be the last place we've been.
Let's go then.
Hey, wait, that's...
And here's Santa. Let's talk to him.
What are you doing?
There's just like no reason not to talk to everybody.
What? You can't tell? I'm checking out the red.
Why? Is there something bothering you?
Now, these three together would be 3, 5, and 4, which would add up to 3, which would let this group through, but it doesn't give you any solution after that point because you can't open a 9 with just 2 people. At least we assume that to be true. The irony would be that the 9 door just unlocks no matter what, and it's already open, or it doesn't have one of these devices on it.
What? It's not bothering you?
Huh?
The guts of this red. Why wouldn't you wonder who the hell put it back in here?
Yeah, that's true. Well, I'm curious too, but...
And if this was really based on the Jigsaw movies, these doors would only open if somebody sliced their finger off and put like a gallon of blood in the unit. Something really grotesque and ridiculous like that.
Who do you think did it?
I don't know.
I thought this game was going to be a little bit more horrific and gory. It's kind of a weird choice now halfway through to be trying to play in my Halloween month block, because I tend to try to cover games that are really, really horrific and gory during that block every year, and then maintain normal games for the rest of the year. This feels like this isn't that bad of a game as far as the violence and the gore, so I probably could have played this at any point.
Well, what about you, Junpei? Who do you think fixed this thing for us?
Let's see. Well, we can say Snake, because everybody else's claims not. We could say Lotus, and there's no reason to suspect Lotus. Kind of funny that we can only suspect Lotus. It feels like if we had taken the other path, we would be able to suspect someone else. We could say Zero, or someone other than the 8 of them. It is an interesting idea that there would be someone else running around other than the 8 of them. If there were multiple people with multiple numbers on their bracelets, and that would solve a lot of problems. But it is just a wild guess to say someone other than the 8 of them, and that really is just a attempt to put blame on nobody in particular. I'll say Zero.
I think it was probably Zero.
Why?
Isn't that obvious? He's the guy who set this whole thing up.
You don't think that should mean the opposite? Seems to me like that means he didn't do it. I mean, who do you think took that stuff out in the first place?
Probably Zero.
Yeah, exactly.
Yep, I guess that logic makes sense.
And why the hell would he put him back in after he'd taken them out himself? It just doesn't make sense. Why do all that work?
Yeah.
We're making more
That makes sense.
grunting sounds.
So, what happened then? Who put that stuff back in the Reds?
So, in other words, one of us is the person who fixed the red.
Bingo! We have a winner.
but if that's true, then the person who did it doesn't want the rest of us to know that they fixed it.
Would that be Seven that fixed it then? He doesn't want people to know he has memory.
Yeah,
I would suspect Seven more than anyone else.
but why?
But Snake would be a good suspect too, because it'd be kind of funny if he wasn't really blind.
No idea. Maybe if they come clean on that, it means we'd find out something else.
Something bad?
Dunno. But whatever it is, it's gotta be worth hiding.
Trying my best to skip through all this dialogue as fast as possible.
Of course.
This is really an eye-opener as far as visual novels, though. I would totally not be able to play a game like this if it wasn't voice acted. It's just too long of a genre of games.
You think maybe they did something to Snake?
Yeah. Look, if you trust anybody in this game, you're gonna lose.
Santa being a bit of a gambler.
You've gotta be careful.
Now the irony here would be, is it June that took the items out or put the items in somehow and we didn't see her? And did she somehow sneak away and kill Snake?
The person you trust the most could turn out to be the one who stabs you in the back.
And that's that, I guess.
Did he just walk away? That, again, would probably be helpful if there was some stage direction at that point. Santa leaves. Where to go next? Okay, well, still can press up and get the different style of look, and I don't know. I don't see a reason not to just go through it again. It's probably not moving time forward any.
Let's go take a look around the casino.
Let's see if these trigger something different.
Okay.
There's no one here. Let's try somewhere else.
Okay. And then we have the first class cabin is already marked as a place that we've already been. So, should we go there?
Let's go take a look at the first class cabin. It's really close. No one's here. Maybe we'll have more luck somewhere else. But where?
Interesting. Well, then the hall with all the rooms, and then back to the large hospital, I guess.
Why don't we go back to C deck?
So we're just making a loop.
Take a look at that hallway with all the rooms.
Making a loop around.
Okay, let's get going then.
Feels like they should have just eliminated the options.
Nobody's here. Let's look somewhere else.
Now, it would be very complicated if you could find Snake, but only if you went to like one location first, and then another location the second time, and then like a third location the third time, because then you would have a 4 to the power of 3 or 3 to the power of 4 combination lock effectively.
But where?
Why don't we go back to the big hospital room?
Okay, let's go then.
But I don't think we'd run
Anyone is
into
here.
so many duds
Next.
if that was the case. Yeah. I don't think you're supposed to just wander around. So it would just have been easier to just eliminate options. And that's really just a couple lines of code too, so it's not like that's hard to program.
Snake hasn't been anywhere we've searched.
He could be in or under any of these beds.
And we can't keep looking for him. Wherever he is, it's not here.
It'd be funny if he got grabbed through like a door that was locked by Zero.
We need to get moving.
We don't got a choice. Lotus is right.
He did name himself Snake, but his explanation for that code name didn't seem to really imply that he was a bad guy.
We're not gonna find Snake. There's a problem, though. We've got to figure out who's gonna go through which door.
Yes, I have a proposal.
Did she figure out a combination? Because I kind of don't want to have to do the math here. And it would still be not better than just having a calculator if we could have a ability to just have the headshots of each character with their number and then move them from like a group A, group B, group C, and just move it around and get the digital code, digital root from that, instead of having to take the extra steps and extra thoughts. Let's hear her proposal.
Why don't we decide on one person to sacrifice?
The door in the second door, I think that's going to open. So whoever we sacrifice, if that does open, is going to be upset about being sacrificed.
Sacrifice?
Well, perhaps that's a bit of a harsh word, but yes.
So she has a couple of combinations apparently where one person has to be left behind, but that sounds better than leaving 2 or 3 people behind.
You've all figured it out by now, haven't you? We can't all make it through those doors. If we split into 2 teams of 4 and 3 people respectively, then 3 people will be left behind. If we split into 2 teams of 5 and 2 people respectively, then 2 people will be left behind. But if we split into 2 groups of 3 and leave 1 person out, then only 1 person will be left behind.
Leaving behind 3 people with 2 teams of 4 and 3. So do I say not sure or she was right? And I can't bring up the calculator to do this way. And did she do her calculations including Snake, or is this just going to be let's leave Snake behind and then we can make 2 groups of team? Let's see. There's Snake is missing, that leaves you 7. So I guess I say she is right, or we can say I'm not sure if we want. But yeah, if we're gonna try and win this video game, hesitating is probably not the right move. I've already wasted so much time, so let's go with she was right.
Then you're saying we gotta decide who's gonna stay behind.
Yes, we do. Given our circumstances, it's logically and morally the best solution. If the other 6 are to survive, then 1 person has to sacrifice themselves.
Yeah, I don't think anybody's gonna volunteer for that.
No, that's too cruel.
What's so cruel about it?
To just sacrifice someone like that?
Then what's your plan? Maybe we should sacrifice 2 people instead of just 1.
That's not what I meant.
It does feel like if you like, let's just look at the flow here. Here's a point where I think this falls apart. Is it feels like if you do 2 groups of 3, you're really hoping at that point that the next door has a number on it that you can use to open with that group of 3 again, instead of a group of 5 or 2, which gives you more options further. The 0 didn't tell you how many of these numbered doors you were going to run into, so but you've seen 2 already, so it's a fair assumption to say you'll see more. So we might head to the right path, which is probably the bad path if we choose 2 groups of 3. But then we might also have a half and half shot, even if we do choose 2 groups of 3, in which we still end up merging back together. If we could get both groups of 3 to merge back together in the left or the middle path, then you could probably split up again at that point.
We shouldn't sacrifice anyone.
I told you, that's impossible. Wake up.
Whoa, whoa, calm down, you two. Look, what Lotus is trying to say is, you should aim to bring the greatest amount of happiness to the greatest amount of people, right?
Exactly. That's how democracy works. And for that reason, I think the only fair way to decide who will be sacrificed is through a vote. What do you think?
No, that's terrible.
I vote June off.
I'm not asking you. Shut up. What about you, Santa?
Me? Well, I agree, I guess.
All right, that's 1 vote for. Counting mine, that's 2. 7.
I can't say I agree with you, but we don't exactly have a choice. If we don't do something, we're all gonna die.
Oh, glad to see you. If I can get one more vote, then it's decided. What about you, Clover?
Clover is getting a different shot here that should have been used more often, frankly.
Hey, Clover. Your brother has to be behind one of the numbered doors.
She's now straight up manipulating her.
We've searched everywhere, but we didn't find him. Doesn't that mean he has to have gone through one of them somehow?
Ooh, would it be crazy if the doors opened automatically when you put the devices in, and thus you don't actually have to use the right combination of 3 people? Even if that was true, then he might be behind one of the doors exploded.
Let's go look for him together, okay?
Okay, so if 8 and 4 are together, and she wants 8 and 4 would be 12, that means that she would have to either then have either me or June, either Junpei or June, go with them to make a group of 3. If that's the proposal. So either I put all 3 of the girls together, or I take Clover and Lotus, and then it really doesn't solve anything as far as the number 9 door.
If we sacrifice one person, then we can go look for him.
Lotus is showing herself to be too manipulative at this point.
You agree with me,
Is she trying to, like, hypnotize her?
right?
Okay.
The motion carries. Now, let's start a vote too.
That won't be necessary. I will stay. That should solve our problem, yes?
It's Ace should be the last one to stay, honestly. Lotus should be the one to stay. I think having a 1 will be way more useful than having an 8. And that leaves Ace really out of the story. So it feels like there should have been a different decision that would have had us pair up with Ace a lot more. But it does seem fairly obvious that somewhere in the story we were going to have a split where we either kept Ace and got rid of Lotus, or kept Lotus and got rid of Ace.
Ace, what are you saying? No, you can't do that. That won't solve anything.
June, I'm afraid you may have misunderstood me. I said I would stay, but I never said I would sacrifice myself.
Huh?
I trust you, each and every one of you.
See, he's saying he trusts everyone, and that's a good sentiment to instill on everybody, every other stranger you just met in this murder game. If they went back and got the 9 watch and Ace had it, then that would be 10, and then 10 plus Snake Eyes would be 13. Well, 12. 12 with digital root would be 3. So they could get through the number 3 door.
I believe you'll come back for me.
particularly if Ace has the number 9 watch already, and it would still work, and he knows that.
There's optimistic, and then there's just nuts. Those doors only go one way. You go in, you don't come out. If we go through them,
You won't be able to return, correct?
yeah.
True. But that will not be the case once you've escaped from the ship.
What?
Please, I beg you. Once you've escaped, come back and rescue me. Ideally, within the time limit Zero has given us.
No, that's ridiculous. There's no way we could get back in time. We've only got 5 hours left. We don't even know where the hell we are. How on earth are we gonna find someone to come and rescue you?
Then, perhaps you would prefer to stay instead of me? Or perhaps you would be willing to leave June behind? You see,
Yes,
there's no other choice.
I would.
Then I see we've come
And
to our...
video game wise, they're not gonna let Junpei stay.
Don't worry yourselves about me. Go, quickly.
This is another point where it feels like if I was actually in this situation, I would tell him, go back and get that 9 watch and find Snake, and then you can get through the 3 door. But I think Junpei won't say that. So yeah, we're having creeping drama.
Let's accept his kind offer then.
But this is gonna kind of quickly be forgotten, and then we'll be back to goofing around, I think.
I think this is the best for me.
Yep. The whole point of the story of number 9 blowing up and dying fast was to basically sober up all the people and have them act serious throughout the entirety of the story, with maybe just small bits of levity here and there. And it's really not written that way.
Perhaps I'll be able to take a nap. It may be my age, but I get tired so easily these days.
Was that the sound effect of him lying down on the bed? And here we've got that tapping sound effect.
What are you waiting for? We're wasting time. Why don't we hurry it up?
You're right. We should get going. That's all we can do right now.
7.
Seriously. Honestly, I was getting kind of sick of listening to you guys talk.
You too, Santa? I have to find my brother. Wait, all of you. Let's just calm down and think about this. There has to be a way to get everyone out. There has to be.
Yeah, June is not going to be helpful here.
Right, Jumpy? Say something.
Yeah, let's think. There's gotta be another way.
Fine. Forget about it. I'll figure it out on my own. Ace! Come on, Ace. Please stand up.
So apparently they're both sitting on the bed now, and they're just kind of slumped over in the animation.
We just have to sit down together and think about this. We'll figure out a way that we can all get out of here.
See, the funny part about this is the solution might be to just sit in one place and not move for a while. There was definitely a couple of video games we've seen like that, where if you just don't do anything at all, you'll win the game as a secret ending.
Ace!
And he's now passed out. Did he have a fever too?
What happened? Ace, say something.
I'm all right.
How are you all right?
This is a custom drawn image, and it looks pretty roughly drawn.
A syringe?
Is he diabetic?
Soparil beta. What does this do?
Soparil beta. Does he have some kind of like testosterone deficiency?
Did you use this?
Did he just kill himself?
Yes. It's just anesthetic. I'll be fine.
You don't know what was in it or how old it was.
Anesthetic?
I found it earlier.
So is Snake somewhere drugged?
While we were searching the hospital rooms, I thought it might be useful later. I didn't think I'd be using it on myself.
So he was planning on drugging somebody, apparently.
Why did you do this?
Didn't I tell you? I'd like to take a nap.
Ace is being very weird, but kind of self-sacrificial also.
I really am very tired.
Ace.
Is there something you want to say?
Now, the introduction here of the hospital rooms and drugs does bring back something that was mentioned before. If their heartbeat gets down to 0, the watches come off. And so, in theory, if you can get your heartbeat down to 0 for just a few seconds, that might be enough for the watch to come off, and then they would not be at risk of blowing up if they walk through a numbered door, because remember, the system works that the detonator in the watch and the bracelet activates the bomb in their stomachs, which it's just too complicated, and the watches only activate when they go through a doorway. So there's, and they, I think, deactivate when they come off, so they couldn't reactivate when walking through a doorway. So if he took this, his heartbeat went down to 0 for a second, and then you got his bracelet off, he may just be able to put the bracelet in his pocket and walk in the hallway fine when the door's open.
I just like to sleep a little. Could you keep it down?
But then the question becomes, like, how would you activate it in such a way that earlier in the story somebody's heartbeat would stop? I don't know if there would be a way to do that. And certainly he's made himself too much of a liability. Nobody's going to drag Ace's body around.
No, don't, Ace. Don't fall asleep.
You feel warm.
It's not a bad idea, though, in one of these death sequences. If you have to kind of sacrifice yourself, if you put yourself in such a way that you can't possibly play the game, play along, or win, perhaps that will bore Zero enough that he'll go, this sucks, let me give him some more time, or let me go and wake him up, or let me give him an advantage or something, because it would be really, really boring if he just spent the next 5 hours asleep on this mattress.
So comfortable.
Depends on how crazy of a rule stickler Zero would be. He probably would stick to the rules.
A nice dream.
Ace! Ace!
So he effectively committed suicide there.
Let's get him up on a bed.
Let's search his pockets.
We really don't have a choice now. We can't let his sacrifice go to waste, right?
Like you even mean that.
You say something?
No, nothing.
Yeah, but we're not done choosing yet, are we?
Huh? What do you mean?
Well, we haven't decided who's going in what door.
Ah, yes. Yes, that's true.
Enough of this screwing around. Let's decide. You first, Lotus. Which door do you want?
I want door number 8.
Okay. I think I don't want door number 3.
It's the same number as my bracelet number.
Got it. You're 8. You're next, 7. Which one do you want?
I'll take 7. I can't get along with that old lady.
Interesting. I figured he wouldn't really have figured that out, but okay.
What? What did you just say?
Who, me? I didn't say nothing.
Oh, you're gonna get it next time.
All right, who's next? Junpei, which door do you want?
I want door 7 too, but I don't know how this breaks down. Let's think about this. 7 plus 5 would be 12. To get to 7 at that point, we would need Clover. So it would be 7, me, and Clover. And then for door number 8, that would be Lotus, who's 8, Santa, who's 3, and June, who would be 6, which I don't think adds up to 8. So that doesn't work. So the decisions made so far don't make sense. If I say door number 8 and I want to go with Lotus, then that gives us a 13, which would be which then would be 4, which would then mean we would need Clover. So if I pick door 8, it's Lotus, me, and Clover. Which, okay. And then that would leave Santa with 7, which is 10, and the Santa and 7 is 10, and then it would also throw in June, who is 6, which would be 7. I don't know if I'm doing the math wrong here or what, because it seems like door 8 is the only solution that we can go with. Let's see. Yes, 7 plus 5 would be 12. That would be 3. And that would be Clover. Ow. You know what? I'm not willing to do the math on this, and door 3 throws it into a loop, so I'm just going to say door 8 because I don't want door 3.
I think I'm going to go with door 8.
That pretty much eliminates us having to talk to June anymore, and I'm more than happy with that.
Okay, 8 it is.
Yeah.
Alright then. That means June's gotta go through 7.
What? Why?
What?
If the 6 of us are gonna keep going without leaving anyone behind, there are only 3 ways we can do it. Have 3, 5, and 8 go through 7, and 4, 6, and 7 go through 8.
I thought it was backwards there. Why is Santa saying the numbers wrong here? Because this doesn't make sense. Lotus is 8. She said she wanted to go through door 8. So I don't know how he's getting the numbers here where Lotus goes through 7 and 7 goes through 8. Yeah. Seems like they didn't think this through or translate this right.
4, 5, and 7 go through 7, and 3, 6, and 8 go through 8.
I guess maybe he's just naming the 3 options. And it does kind of seem like, in this case, 7 and 8 are the 2 paths that are going to be more dominant.
Or 3, 6, and 7 go through 7, and 4, 5, and 8 get 8.
So we might get thrown into a point here where it is just 4, 5, and 8 going through 8, because June. No, June is 6.
There are no other combinations.
See, this is where Santa goes to show that he actually does know numbers, because he's a gambler, and he is proving himself to be somewhat useful.
In other words, 3 and 4 and 7 and 8 can never go through the same doors. it now?
Oh no. You're saying we aren't gonna see each other again for a long time.
Hey, come on. You're making it sound like we're never gonna see each other again.
We just met 3 hours ago. We re-met. We were elementary school friends. If they wanted to have some backstory here to make it feel like they were better friends, they should at least have some inside jokes or like memories that they talk about, and they should say, hey, remember that time we went on the summer trip or something like that. Because all we've really been told is that Junpei and June were elementary school friends, and that's it. Like that's not a super deep friendship to then spring this feeling of a true love romance path on. Steam recently got a game that was a like romance visual novel game where you go throughout the course of many years to date one character. It was a little bit different because you're playing the story starting and knowing with the girl that you're going to try and romance, instead of so many romance dating visual novels where you have a harem of 4 or 5 best girls to potentially pick from.
This is just like when we went into the 4 and 5 doors, remember? We got split up then too, but we all met back up.
It does seem like that's the case, but there's been no indication that that would be the case to the players, because that's all just been indicated by the flow overlay.
I'll bet 7 and 8 are just like that.
You mean they're connected somewhere?
Probably. You probably wouldn't build a boat where that was maze-like.
Yeah, probably.
Although Zero may have split up the parts of the boat.
Probably.
I'm sure they're gonna connect somewhere.
Yeah, a lot of people throwing out a lot of false hope.
Why? What makes you think so?
If they don't, then neither team can get through door 9.
Hmm.
In other words, the game would end right here.
Yeah, that's the other part of this.
Zero's been on top of his shit so far. I don't think he'd blow it now. I'm damn sure that son of a bitch wants to have his fun as long as possible.
All of a sudden, we're back to a lot of cussing.
He's not gonna end this game until we get through the 9 door.
Everything's gonna be fine. We're gonna see each other again. I promise.
Yes. Promise?
You guys are done, right? Anyway, that's pretty much it. Clover and I will both go into separate groups. I figure I'll take 7 and Clover can take 8.
So, one of the thoughts I'm having here is it might improve the storytelling ability if there were some TV screens everywhere. I guess that kind of hurts with the nostalgic appearance of these of the boat, but if at some point Zero could show footage of where Snake is and he's like dead somewhere, or he showed footage of number 9 blowing up, that might have been a little bit more appreciable. Of course, a Japanese game for a Japanese audience, they're not going to show a lot of gore. That's why the only thing we've seen so far is a bloody hallway.
Any problems with that, Clover?
Even though this game felt very much like it was pushing itself and selling itself as being a lot more violent and bloody.
Whatever.
Alright, we're ready to go then. Let's move.
Forward ho, after what was probably another hour of dialogue.
Are you ready?
Now, I guess it is worth remembering that when they open this door, they have to then race to the blue switch, the dead switch as it was called. Otherwise, they're all going to blow up anyways.
Yeah.
Okay.
Then shall we go?
These animations are kind of interesting, but they don't happen enough for as iconic as it feels like it should be. You have 9 seconds to run through the door also.
Okay. Hurry!
June.
9 seconds. You don't have time to talk.
Jumpy.
What the hell are you doing?
Did she just grab him?
81 seconds left. Hurry!
81 seconds. So it just jumped to them finding it immediately.
It stopped.
So this must be a fairly small area, or the story just didn't want to have them have to struggle to find the dead switch.
Pointless.
What an unpleasant girl.
I don't like either one of them, frankly. We're establishing a bad precedent here, because I don't think at this point I've had a decent interaction with any of the female people in total. Lotus clearly is too duplicitous and selfish. Clover seems to be childish and slightly depressed, and June seems to be a conspiracy theory nut. I think I would have preferred Ace right about now, and Snake seems a lot cooler, and even Seven I'd like to know a little bit more about, particularly since I half suspect he might be Zero in disguise.
I bet she's not very popular with the boys.
Maybe pairing these two together was a mistake.
Too
late now. I better catch up to them.
Yeah, and I don't think there's a big advantage to have these two paired up and fighting each other the whole time.
There's a door on the left, though.
A laboratory?
Oh, that doesn't sound very pleasant. I don't like the look of this place.
Me either, but there aren't any other doors. It's not like we have a lot of choices.
Junpei.
Huh?
Please, you first.
Ugh, fine.
So, another escape the room section, obviously. An odd little transition there where
I think the window
kind of
looks
didn't
into
need
another
that.
room.
You kind of don't need to go through a numbered door to a pointless hallway, then into a laboratory.
Maybe it's for monitoring something.
What the hell?
It looks so creepy.
Now, this feels really out of place, and everything up until this point has kind of hinted that either they were maybe back in time somehow on the Titanic, or they were in the 100-year-old replica of the Titanic's sister ship, the Gigantic. But here's this problem a little bit with the plumbing and the electrical of the ship. Like, I kind of feel like the Gigantic wouldn't have been wired for electricity. I just don't think it would. I think it would be more of a candle, like gas type building. Wired probably more for gas. But I could be wrong about that. But it definitely wouldn't have a robot in it, or some weird medical training doll. Then
It's kind of like that doll is waiting for surgery.
This is a laboratory, right?
so it feels like
It's more like it's waiting to be experimented on.
they're stretching to have a puzzle here.
Ooh,
It's creepy either way. You don't think that thing's gonna suddenly sit up or something, do you?
It'd be funny if Clover just ran up to it and started like stabbing it with a scalpel, and she's like, "Oh yeah, I'm pre-med."
well, I don't know. I mean, look at all those cables sticking out of it. If we press the wrong button, I don't know.
Stop it. Just thinking about it is terrifying.
Wait, where's Clover? What is she? Are you okay?
What are you talking about?
Clover might be going crazy.
What? I'm just worried about you. You've been real quiet.
What? I can't be quiet if I want to?
Well, I mean, of course you can. I just...
Okay then. If I can be quiet if I want, just leave me alone, okay?
Come on, you know I can't do that.
I have suspected that those earmuffs might be headphones. She might be acting quiet and listening to people through microphones.
We gotta work together.
And she might be Zero.
Junpei, you just don't get it. My brother's not the kind of person who just leave me behind. Something happened to him. Something bad.
Yeah. I kind of think that's probably true.
What happened?
Look, just don't bother me, okay? Leave me alone.
Now, there was a rule about all the people having to participate. So it would be weird if that rule was taken extremely literally and Clover therefore was blown up or eliminated from the game and blown up because of that. But on the other hand, Lotus has definitely been in some scenarios where she hasn't participated also in the escape the room sections, like the freezer section for instance, and she wasn't blown up at that point. So I think the rule may be more that everybody who is walking through a numbered door has to contribute to escape the numbered door hallways, and that's it.
Hey, wait, Clover! Hold on! That way is...
I guess the word was contribute, not participate.
I told you to leave me alone. Clover, watch out above you.
Well, at least at this point, we know that these are remotely activated traps and not being activated by Lotus, as far as we can tell. And there's nothing to say that this couldn't have been an automatic trap that Clover intentionally activated on herself.
Hang on. I'll get it open.
Oh, for crying out. You'll never do it on your own.
Apparently Clover is trying to pry the door open. Apparently everybody's trying.
Damn it! It's not moving.
Wait! Are you gonna give up? Just like that?
No, I'm not giving up. This has got to be another one of Zero's puzzles.
Probably.
If it is, then there's gotta be a way to open it.
Just what I was thinking. Now all we gotta do is find it. Lotus and I can look around out here. Clover, you're gonna have to see if you can find anything in there.
Oh, yes, I'm on it.
So it does seem like she's gonna actually participate. A lot of this feels like it is inspired by some of the Professor Layton games and such. Also. So you get a nice little overlay of the image so you can see where it is. And where are we on the flow? So we had chosen the number 8 door, and the number 8 door took us in the middle path. Interesting, which oddly I think means that they just assumed that the middle path would have been the path of you choosing to end up with the girls. And it doesn't seem like this sequence is going to be particularly as long. I kind of get the feeling that this might speed up a little bit in general. Because, yeah, that initial setup and that initial section was rather long. So, yeah, I think we're kind of good there. What save file is it? We're on save file 7, which means we've been through 7 hour-and-a-half nearly episodes, which, yeah, puts us closer close to a 10-hour mark. Now, when I checked how long this game was supposed to be, using howlongtobeat.com, the amount to beat the game seemed to be, if you're playing rushed, about 10 hours, and if you're playing as a completionist, about 40 hours. I definitely don't want to spend 40 hours on this game, but maybe we are going to be able to rush a little bit more on the second playthrough, and I've started to try and rush a little bit more in general. The dialogue and the conversations hopefully will not drag on as long as they have in the past, and we'll be able to just focus on the task at hand a lot more and not have these side stories from June about the curse of the Titanic. Anyways, that's going to be it for this recording. As always, I ask you to like, share, subscribe, comment, and watch every second of my videos. If you want a friend or follow me on any social media sites, there's a whole bunch of links down below in the description box. And if you want to support me further, there's a link to Patreon, or you can friend me on Steam and gift me a game off my wishlist. Thank you for watching. Have a good evening.